Look! Look, the dynamic duo!
All right, so guys, we're gonna break up this thing into two different segments. If you haven't, please check out my partner's Kevin's take on what he would do differently in the past with Marvel. Brilliant stuff that you should listen to. Here's my take on it. Here's what I would do differently if I was Kevin Feige. I give Kevin Feige a B, perhaps even a B plus. Let's recognize what he's achieved, whether I like it or dislike it. The guy blew up the world. I mean, seriously. Marvel basically rules the cinematic, the box office at this stage of the game. The Harry Potters have fallen by the wayside, and so Marvel is the big game in town. And it's going to, unlike what my brother thinks, is going to continue to be so, particularly given what's going to happen in the future with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Here's what I would do differently, and here's why he doesn't get an A, or certainly not an A plus. Hulk, the first movie that comes out Marvel. Big mistake, in my opinion. And the mistake is they completely misunderstood and mistreated the character. The Hulk has not been represented in the Marvel MCU. I'm sorry to say that. A Hulk has, but the Hulk hasn't. Who is the Hulk? First of all, the Hulk is more the Hulk than it is about Bruce Banner. Unlike Peter Parker and Spider-Man, where it's 50-50, you have to have 50, you have to have Peter Parker. The Hulk is mostly the Hulk, and Banner is kind of a supporting character, believe it or not. And the Hulk's thing is that he is a misunderstood monster. There have been other movies that have been made about that, but he is a misunderstood power guy. And that tragedy, that sadness of a guy trying to do the right thing, trying to just wants to be left alone, trying to find peace, and always falling into the wrong situation and being interpreted as the bad guy, that dynamic was missed in the Hulk, and it's very, very important. We needed several things from a Hulk movie. We needed the origin story. We needed the gamma bomb explosion, because that is representative of what the character is. So we needed to have that scene as drawn by Jack Kirby and written by Stan Lee. We needed that scene to be done visually. And we also needed Rick Jones. We needed Rick Jones to be the voice of the Hulk. We needed Rick Jones to say, no, guys, you don't understand. He didn't mean to do that. We needed a connection to the Hulk. And last but not least, we don't need a growling monster Hulk. Hulk is a thinking creature who talks and who has a point of view, who says, Hulk wants to be left alone. You're my friend. That is the character of the Hulk. And so those things were missed in the first movie. And because of that, it was a disappointment. And they blame the character, but it's the delivery. Iron Man 1, my goodness, that's the way to do it. That's the way. That is the blueprint. It doesn't get better than that. And what do we find? What do we find? Why is it that case? It's because it's closest to the source material as you can get. Two things. The origin was accurate, obviously brought to a modern time, but the origin was accurate. But unlike Captain America, the First Avenger, the origin was accurate in Captain America and First Avenger. But why I'm disappointed in the First Avenger is because the second half of the movie insults the material by making fun of the costume, by de-superheroing him, and essentially turning the second half into an Indiana Jones-ish type of adventure, type of fighting sequence. It failed the superhero genre. And if you don't understand what I mean, two things. Imagine a much better outfit, just a superhero outfit, a Captain America outfit. We need to stop being ashamed of those things, and we certainly need to stop making fun of them. And imagine the action sequences that was in Winter Soldier and Civil War. That would have made the first Captain America movie great. That's what Iron Man 1 had. So I would change those things. So with Captain America, to me, that was a disappointment. But Winter Soldier and Civil War, again, brilliant, absolutely brilliant movies, wonderfully delivered. I would change one slight thing about both of those movies. One slight thing. I would just stay a little bit faithful to the costumes. Think about think about how much better Captain America looks in Civil War than he does in Winter Soldier. Give the guy the damn costume. Give me the red boots. I know what you're thinking. I know that a lot of people are thinking, oh, that's too silly. It would never work. And keep in mind, when I say give him his costume, I don't mean give him a bad costume. Give him the best representation of that costume as you could possibly do, but give him the costume. So I would change that aspect of it. Movies like Doctor Strange, to me, a wonderful, beautiful delivery. It was a bold move to do Guardians of the Galaxy. I wouldn't have done it. They did it. It worked. So those are the things that I would change in the past. Culmination of certainly, last but not least, I almost forgot it, Thor. The same way Hulk has been underutilized, Thor has been completely ruined. We haven't had a Hulk movie because of the first movie was a failure. The Thor movies are in all of them, in my opinion, are bad. The first Thor movie was done by a director who doesn't understand the genre and doesn't understand the character. A lot of people think that movie is a good movie simply because their expectation was that Thor is such a terrible character. If it's not bad, it must be good. No, the way I look at it is that Thor is a great character, and the crap that we got is an absolute disaster of a movie. My goodness, the potential of having Thor go toe-to-toe with the Destroyer was absolutely wasted by that nonsense of an action sequence, which shouldn't be called an action sequence. There's so much pathos and mythos, and I have a Thor movie in my head, which I'll share with you guys later in another segment, but there's so much potential that was wasted. The stuff in Asgard was great. The stuff on Earth was silly and cutesy and completely failed. Same thing. My opinion of Thor is the same as my opinion of Captain America: The First Avenger. First half is good. Second half is very, very disappointing to me. So I would definitely maximize Thor the same way Iron Man was maximized in the first movie. So those are the things that I would do. And so having that stronger base would make the Avengers, in my opinion, that much stronger. And the Avengers is great. Nothing wrong there. Great. You know, characters are great. Story was great. It built to a crescendo. Great job, Kevin Feige, bringing all these different pieces together. I just feel that if we had maximized Hulk and Thor and Captain America that much more, it would have just made it that much better. Even if it's the same movie, our connection would have been that much stronger. The culmination to Thanos, the way they built Thanos, brilliantly done by Kevin Feige. I wouldn't change anything. I certainly would change Endgame. In my opinion, Endgame was an absolute mess. It was too long. It was convoluted. There's so many plot holes. I was very disappointed. It gave me that sense of when two movies are filmed at the same time. And so the second one is not as good as the first because the energy is, people are tired. The Russo brothers disappointed me. There was too many predictable nonsense and too much of the raping of the character. What they did with the Hulk was egregious. What they did with Thor, my goodness, you're making Thor fat. You made Thor fat.
If I can jump in just for a second.
Please, absolutely.
To piggyback on both what you said about the Hulk and an earlier point that I made. They had the opportunity to bring angry Thor back. I mean, the angry Hulk back.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. And it would have been relatively simple to do. In the scene in Endgame, and I know you didn't like the movie, so forgive me.
Yes.
in the scene in Endgame when the Avengers compound is coming apart and the water piping underneath and what have you begins to break up and they start to drown. All you needed was for Banner to basically say, and I'm not talking about Hulk, it's time for you to come out. I'm not talking about him controlling the Hulk that way.
Yes.
It should have just been that the Hulk had decided within himself that his friends, his colleagues were not going to die that day, and he should have busted through the ground and saved their lives.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Brilliant.
It's along the same line of, and again, this goes back to Chris Hemsworth and a lot of what the Russos decided to do. They could have brought back, because he didn't lose his physique, he still had it. Okay. What people saw from Big Lebowski Thor was a fat suit. He didn't gain all that weight.
Absolutely.
So they could have given women back the big muscular Thor. They could have given guys back that are Thor fans like yourself, like me. They could have given us back the God of Thunder. It would have been very easy to do.
Yes.
They could have done it in less than a minute. When the scene happens just before the big battle begins to break down, when there's nobody there except Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. And the big scene is, what has Thanos been doing? Nothing. He's been sitting there. And they prep themselves in a very awkward way for the battle that's coming. And Thor raises the hammer and basically says, let's make sure we kill him properly this time. When he raised that hammer, that final streak of lightning should have restored his body, and the Big Lebowski Thor business should have disappeared.
Absolutely.
That should have been the end of it.
Absolutely. Freaking-lutely. And that should have been the culmination, the climax of the fight. I'm sorry to say this. I'm wearing a Captain America shirt. We talked earlier about Spider-Man, when fans are, assuming to listen, I'm a Captain America fan. I'm Captain America in the show. I'm in Avengers mention in the show. Captain America had no business fighting Thanos. He had no business fighting Thanos, none whatsoever. The fight should have been Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, kind of there, kind of hanging around. The same way Batman was hanging around when Superman and Wonder Woman were fighting Doomsday. Captain America is not going toe to toe. That was very problematic for me. And you're absolutely right. That should have been the come out. That's a brilliant take, by the way, of the Hulk. The building is falling. The Hulk comes out, and he comes out like that would have been the opportunity to do the proper Hulk. Give him another personality, the proper Hulk, the angry Hulk, and come out and says, no, and I'm saving my friends. And where is this Thanos guy who beat up my other Hulk personality that I don't recognize? I don't know who that growling monster is, but let's go fight him and bring that anger to Thanos in a way that surprises Thanos. Like, the way that they made Thanos surprised by freaking Captain America, Thanos should have been surprised by Hulk. Like, holy crap, are you that strong, dude? It isn't to say that he would have destroyed Thanos, but he should have hit Thanos in a way that made Thanos go, holy crap, I'm dealing with someone here. And while he may have recovered and pushed the Hulk back and hurt the Hulk back, then Thor should have come into the scene and showed you, let me show you what true power is. And that should have been the fight. Thor shows him what true power is. He gets rid of Thor with a blast. Here comes Hulk again. Now here comes Hulk and Thor, and that should have overwhelmed Thanos. That, and Iron Man should have been in the background doing his little repulsor raise, like, can I help you guys out? And Captain America should have been like, go, Hulk. with
I don't know if I would have went there, but I understand.
Captain America should have run. What Captain America, he should have gotten on a bike, ran really fast, gone to Avengers Mansion, got 2 pom-poms, come back around, go to the fight, and be like, hey, for the Hulk. Go Thor, go.
USA, USA. You
USA.
got me doing it now. Stop it.
That's all Captain America should have done. Give me a freaking break, dude. Captain America's freaking going toe to toe while Thor is laying on his ass. Give me a break. And the Hulk is nowhere near to be found. And Iron Man is doing all kinds of nonsense. The movie was a disaster, man. I'm telling you, when you go back and look at it, there's so many plot holes, so many nonsense. I hate it. But again, I guess as we've said, missed opportunity, man. Missed opportunity. Hulk should have been a Hulk. Thor should have been Thor. Iron Man, you know, they already boosted up Iron Man, and of course they over boosted Captain America. But we missed Thor. We missed Thor. We missed Hulk. It's terrible. And then some things about the movie, I called it a million miles away. The whole past the football thing, where I knew each character would get their limelight. It distanced me from the actual. It's like, oh, this is a script. I get it. And then the women, one woman after another, and then they all team up together. That doesn't happen in a fight. So it's scripted, and it's like it's bad writing, in my opinion. You could achieve the same thing in a less obvious way. I didn't like Endgame. But those are the things that I would have changed from the past. And let's talk about what we would do from the future.